So the way it's unfolded for me is I'm getting better at that, and what I'm getting better at is the non-reactivity, is the...
when you say non-reactivity,
what I mean
do you mean you don't say anything, you don't use words or try to convince, but we want to know what your vibrational reactivity is, which is evidenced to you by how you feel.
Right. So I may have a vibrational reactivity, but let's say I do my best to clear that up.
Yeah.
So I leave, I do whatever.
Good.
And countless times that's worked, and I come back and happy face and happy feeling, that's cleared up. And it's like I can do that for a few days, and then something she does or doesn't do triggers that again, and I go try to clean it up, and I can't. And I feel like I would like to have the space to be able to just say, this is bugging me.
Say it.
I do say it, but what's happening over the course of, again, over a year, and this is definitely related to a job she started where she's just constantly on and stuff, she just can't take it. It's like she just explodes, and the energy is very much like, how dare you even have this concern, and then she shuts down for 3 days.
Before you go any further, because you've convinced us that you should go screaming into the woods. But before you go further, a question is popping up all over the room, and certainly you've come to it many times, and people have said it to us in a format like this many, many times. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? How long do I have to wait for what I want? And it's not easy for you to hear that there's no waiting if you can be a selective sifter and predominantly focus upon what you want. But here's the thing. Just stay with us. You're really going to like this. We're not trying to make something happen one way or the other. We just want you to understand the physics of deliberate creation, the actual absolute formulas of how it works. So when you have a desire, it is a natural, not just human tendency, it's what you all came here for. You didn't say, I'll go be human, and I'll gather desires, and I'll focus myself into alignment, and I will never ask for the manifestation or the complete fruition of what I want. I don't need the realization, the actualization, or the materialization. You didn't say that. You said, that's why I am physical. I'm going to focus thoughts into things. I'm going to focus dreams into reality. How corny does that sound? I'm going to find what I want, and I'm going to bring it about. You also did not say, it's going to follow any particular path and be with any particular person. You said, I'm going to focus and find desires, and I'm going to bring those desires into reality, into something that is tangible, seeable, hearable, smellable, tasteable, touchable. So manifestation's a big deal. In fact, it's the big deal that most humans want before they're even willing to consider that there's a vibrational world and that they are vibrational creators. Most people on this planet do not want to hear about vibration or about the law of attraction or about their point of attraction, even though everything about how they feel all day, every day is only about that. Most people don't want to hear it. They just want to hear, how can I get the girl I want? And how can I get the money I want? And how can I get the car I want? And we say, those are very short-lived enthusiasms unless you understand how you focused and how it came to you. What you do want is a steady unfolding of something that feels better. We will say to you unequivocally, if you have focused and tried, and we can feel your purposeful focus, and it is not getting better, you don't find yourself feeling increasingly better, even though what you're really looking for is slightly delayed, then we so want you to hear this from us. If you were really doing what you're telling us that you're doing, she would have moved out of the way and somebody else would have moved in.
Well,
but
it's kind of like that did happen, and I felt extremely uncomfortable.
But instead, you've got enough of what's going on. You see, this is what keeps people from getting what they want. Looking at what is keeps it from getting better. And so you got a tiger by the tail. We'll acknowledge it. You've got someone who doesn't seem like she's trying hardly at all to be a cooperative component. And it's taken a lot of clarity on your part to even focus in the way that you are. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we wouldn't give up on this yet. If she calls you and says, I'm done, we'd call her back and say, I'm not. If she says, I don't want anything to do with you, we'd say, I want everything to do with you. If she says, I don't like anything about you, we'd say, I like some things about you.
Yeah.
See, this is the advantage that your inner being has. Your inner being knows what you've lived and what you've asked for and what's in your vortex. Your inner being knows that. And your inner being knows what the path of least resistance is to get to the fruition of what you want. And we're saying to you, this relationship is worth hanging in. Look at it this way. Look at it as win-win. But we're going to add one more win. So play with this just for a little. Win-win means you win by pointing at what you want. Yeah, I want this relationship. You win-win because your inner being is already pointed there. So when you point there, now it is win-win. You and your inner being are on the same vibrational wavelength, and you are infused with energy and clarity and enlivenment. It feels good to be in sync with your inner being about something that you have been very sure about, and you've convinced your inner being about it, and your inner being isn't as quick to bail out over this and that and this and that as most humans are. So your inner being is hanging in there with your abundance, with your physical conditions, with your relationships. In other words, when you ask, it is given. When you ask, it is given. When you ask, it is given. But you say, well, you're giving it to me in the vortex, but I don't want it in the vortex. I want it in the physical. And we say, enjoy it in the vortex. Enjoy it in the vortex. Enjoy the alignment with your inner being. Enjoy the win-win you've got with your inner being when you focus upon the positive aspects of this girl. Enjoy that win-win. And every now and again, you'll catch her at a less contradicted moment when she wins with you for a moment. And she'll be able to see what's in the vortex that you have calibrated to too. She's not wanting away from you. She's wanting relief from the confusion that she's got going on. But it doesn't have anything to do with you. It doesn't have anything to do with you.
I think she'd disagree, but...
She might say different, but Terry Cole Whitaker wrote a book many years ago. Esther didn't read the book because we encouraged her not to read any books. We encouraged her not to make confusion within herself about where she was getting what she's getting. But she liked the title. And the title is, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. What you think of me is none of my business. Because what you think of me is more about what's going on with you than it is about what's going on with you and me. In other words, there's momentum that's already been in place there. So, we know we say we don't tell people what to do, and we don't. But we often say if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would do blah, blah, blah. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would do blah, blah, blah. One, it is you. Refreshed? Now what? Yeah, standing on your chair does not help. Really, you have to know. You do know now, don't you now know? Don't you now know? This is going to be a good segment, you'll see. This last third of today is all going to come together for you. Just watch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
First thing I would like to say is I really want to express my appreciation for Esther, Jerry, and Abraham for all the things that you do that bring out all the things in us, all that you offer to us.
It's vibrational matches coming together. The culmination of what happens in a room like this is, it's a law of attraction thing for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the culmination of so much that it's what our friend was talking about earlier, focus. Yes. Your appreciation is received fully and returned to you.
Thank
yes.
you. I remember that I attended a workshop last year, and when I was home one day and I was working and I looked out and a bird landed on my roof, and the instant reaction that I had was that it was Jerry.
Yeah, he's like that.
And he showed up, and and basically the message that I interpreted from that was just his encouragement for me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was so appreciative of just having that experience.
Esther has a friend who, if she's in the room, she can always see Jerry. And even when she watches a video, she can always see Jerry. And Esther knows that he's around, but she also knows that he's part of that non-physical family of Abraham, who we are all more intertwined than you have time or resources to figure out. But in moments like that, when you feel that, that's really what we're reaching for, is wanting you to recognize that feeling and just have that knowing. Yes, you all have so much non-physical attention on you. You do, all the time. Yeah.
Well, because of all the things that I'm doing, I'm living more in a state of knowing.
Yeah.
And it just feels so amazing.
Yeah. Feels really good to set an intention and then move in the direction of it and then feel your part in it and the parts of others. Yes.
So I've got a couple of things. One is I know that in your teachings that I've been listening to a lot. I've been listening to thousands of hours. And you talk about there's no assertion. So and I know that I work with a lot of people in the energy field, and of course I know that everybody has their own way of interpreting and expressing how something is. Now, I would like to have some more distinction for myself on a deeper level between what is not assertion and what is influence as we are working and doing things with other people, so I can have that clarity in my own mind.
Well, assertion is knowing something or wanting something and then wanting to give it to another, whether they're ready or not. I just want so much for you to know this or be this or do this or have this that I am using my willpower and my behavior to make it happen. Where influence is, this is something that I appreciate, and I give it, along with my inner being, undivided attention. In other words, I don't want it and doubt it, or want it and deny it. I focus on it, and I am a full receiver of it. And myself, in combination with my inner being, is offering the strongest of all calling, so that anyone ready will be called by my attraction into that knowing. So I'm not asserting it into your knowing, I'm calling you into my knowing.
Right.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's an important clarification. Never made that distinction quite that way before. That's
Yes.
good.
Fantastic. And the last